My latest endeavor is an AI consultancy. I essentially help businesses learn about how to use AI to make processes better within their organizations. I also am running a AI for e-commerce newsletter, which currently has about 8,000 subscribers, where I write 3 times a week about the latest in terms of AI and the e-commerce space. And I also am very active on LinkedIn, so please feel free to connect with me if you would like to. So in terms of today's session, there is quite a few things that we want to cover, but generally the session is going to be split into 3 parts. The first part is very much around covering some of the basic jargon that you guys have probably heard about. So what is AI? What is machine learning? What are large language models? And then we're going to move to more of the actionable part, which is around showing you specific use cases of integrating different tools within your own business that can help you optimize a certain process and automate it to a certain extent with an AI. And then finally, to finish off, I will show you a live demo of 2 specific chatbots that I use on my daily basis. And I want to show you how you can potentially use them and just give you a bit of a taster of what is possible. The idea of this workshop is to really give you a bit of, I guess, more of an understanding about what AI is, and to give you almost like a teaser and an inspiration about actually taking some of this insight and applying it to your organization soon. So, okay, so what is AI and machine learning? Obviously, AI has become the term of everyone's mouth. It was definitely the word of 2023. So what is AI? So AI is really an umbrella term which is specifically focusing on a machine's ability to do tasks that normally would require human intelligence. So this includes the ability for computers to think, to problem solve, and even to create. Now, this is, as I mentioned, an umbrella term. Within that, we have the umbrella term of machine learning. And machine learning is essentially, machine learning main goal is to build models that can execute a particular task or solve a problem. So when it comes to machine learning, I guess the easiest way that I sort of think about machine learning is, if you want to show your child how to ride a bicycle, you can show the child how to ride a bicycle, you can give it a lot of instructions, but in essence, the child itself has to actually go through the process of learning how to ride a bicycle. And machine learning is very similar. You give different models a lot of information, but then they themselves have to figure out how to solve a particular problem. Moving on, so here's a bit of a fun one. There's a little bit of a random slide with pictures. I would like to invite you to have a guess what these images have in common. I'll give you maybe 20 seconds to perhaps type it in the chat. I think there's a function in the chat, so have a good guess what these might be. All right, so the answer is, these are the names of large language models. So the first one is BART, which actually since last week has been rebranded to Gemini. Second one is Llama. Then we have Claude. After that, we have Orca, Palm, Lambda, and BERT. Actually, we have Ernie as well, but I haven't put it in because it's just going to be too much. So large language models. So what are large language models? So before we actually talk about large language models, I think it's really important to mention that machine learning, there's a lot more different types of models than just large language models. For example, there are prediction models, which are normally used for forecasting, sales, and marketing. There is classification models, which are used, for example, to classify data into different types and classes. And large language models are so actually the easiest way to understand them is to really look at the syntax of the phrase large language model. So why are they large? They actually are trained on trillions of example text. And here it's really important to really understand the concepts of example text. So they are not just trained on specific words, they are actually trained on an entire text, so in the entire context. So why are they language? Because their main task is actually to understand language well enough so that they can read a text and then predict the most likely next word. Now, this is a really important context and really important, I guess, definition to understand, because once you understand it, you also understand how to work with a large language model much better. So the screenshot that I've shown you here is actually a screenshot from the OpenAI Playground, which is the owner of ChatGPT. And here I have, for example, typed in my favorite animal is a ... Now, what the large language model then estimates is what is the most likely next word, which it attaches for each word a certain percentage probability. So, for example, dog has 36.51% probability that the next word is a dog, 10% that is a cat, and so on. So the reason why this is important is because if you think about large language models in the context of probability and prediction, then you would know that when you, for example, ask for example, ChatGPT to do something, or prompt it, as the actual terminology is, when you ask ChatGPT or you prompt ChatGPT, the output you're going to get from the platform or from the large language model is only going to be as good as the context or the information you input. And so that's why it's so important when you are working with large language models to really understand how to prompt and how to give the right type of information as clearly as possible so that the large language model can output the best possible output. Okay, so the reason there's a pretty good reason why everyone has been banging on about AI. I mean, certainly I have been talking for at least now a year about AI, and I truly believe that it has is going to have an incredible impact on businesses. It already is having an incredible impact on businesses. So here I've just picked out some good examples of what is happening actually within business. About 6 months ago, there was actually a Harvard-led study with a bunch of Boston Consulting Group consultants who were given a GPT-4, which is one of the large language models, and they got to use it within their usual business context. What the study found was that actually the consultants that used GPT-4 to execute their task produced 40% higher quality results than those who didn't. Further to that, they managed to finish 12% more tasks, and they managed to do the task 25% faster. In addition, we're seeing daily businesses who are adapting AI to do anything from actually dealing with their clients and providing value to their clients, to actually integrating some of these tools within their own businesses for their own internal staff to help them with anything from doing better PowerPoint presentations to writing emails to code. The point is that actually AI can really boost the productivity of your team and also the time efficiency. One thing I want to say is AI is definitely not a magic bullet. It's really always important to put in context where we are in terms of the AI development. So AI as a term has actually been around since the 60s, but the reason why we've seen this massive boom since I guess November 2022 was obviously the massive stride in terms of progress that OpenAI did with GPT-4 and the birth of generative AI. The point here is that we have technology which is really like just a little bit older than a year. And even within this time, it has developed so quickly, and it has managed to achieve a lot. But still, we are right at the start. So although AI can really help with tons of things, it's not something that you just kind of install and it solves all of the problems in your business, but it definitely can help a lot of different functions. And then I'm going to talk to you about some ideas how you can use AI in your day-to-day already, and that could help you supercharge your business. So first, so now we're going to kind of the meaty section of the presentation. So how can you use AI? And here are some like different case studies which can actually improve, which AI can improve for you within your day-to-day. Firstly, we're going to cover multi-purpose chatbots because firstly, they have gotten some of the highest publicity. So I'm sure that most of you have heard about ChatGPT, and not without reason. But then also the reason why I want to talk to you about them almost first is because they are really, really useful and for a lot of different facets of the business. So they are kind of like I would say like a Swiss Army knife for your business. So first one up is ChatGPT. That stands for Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer. If I was on a talk show and you asked me what ChatGPT stands for, I wouldn't be able to tell you. So I have written on the slide. So please remember that, because if you ask me later, again, I won't be able to remember that. So ChatGPT is obviously, I guess, the most famous of all chatbots. And I think here it's really important to bear in mind what ChatGPT is. It's a chat interface built on the top of a large language model. So as such, it's actually a sort of an environment already pre-built by the OpenAI engineers. It's sort of preset with certain conditions. And it's sort of like this very friendly user interface, but it's not necessarily giving you all of the capability that, for example, you can if you had, say, an API plugging into GPT-4, for example. But it's a very useful, very easy to use chatbot that is built on top of these great big large language models. So in terms of when it rolled out, as I mentioned, it came out in November 2022, and it really disrupted the, well, like business. And the reason why it did that is because it just has an incredible capacity to do a lot of different things. So just a clarification, we have GPT 3.5, which is the older model, and that is a free to use for all. You can literally register today and you are good to go. And then there is a GPT-4, which is the latest, actually sort of the second latest model. The GPT-4 Turbo is the latest model, but GPT-4 is kind of the more advanced model. And that is to have access to this, you have to have the Plus account, which is around $20 a month. Now, I would say these $20 are completely worth it. I would sign up. If I were you, I would sign up today and just play around with it and see what it can do, because you will be surprised with how much functionality there is. So one of the things that I find really fantastic is that it can write any sort of text-based input, so like output. So we're talking about, it can write you reports, emails, articles on a specific topic. The great thing is that it also caters for different languages, so it can translate different languages or write a specific type of text in a different language. I use it, for example, for book summaries. So you can literally ask it, hey, have you read this book? Okay, give me the most important insights or the main outtakes out of that book. You can use it to actually do personalized learning and tutoring. So, you know, if there is a particular skill that you want to sort of have a crash course on, you can absolutely use it for. One of the coolest things, in my opinion, is that it has this advanced analytics sort of add-on, which allows you to then upload Excel spreadsheet data or Google Sheet data, and that you can actually analyze and create graphs out of data. You can also create images, which, okay, maybe you guys in your immediate jobs want me to use, but think about, for example, your marketing team. You can essentially create any sort of marketing collateral and in terms of copy, and then actually create within the same platform images to go ahead with that. Another thing that I think is just worth mentioning is that you can also integrate ChatGPT with Google Sheets, so you can actually within Google Sheets create a formula which prompts ChatGPT, so you can actually automate quite a lot of things with that. Next up is Claude 2. So the reason why I have included Claude 2 here is because it's actually a slightly different type of chatbot than ChatGPT. It's not necessarily as versatile in terms of what it can do, but it's nevertheless very impressive. And I would say is the way I use it is I use some of these chatbots in congruence. So like I use them in mixture. I use certain chatbots for certain functions, and then I complement them with others. Claude 2 is a chatbot by Anthropic, launched in March 23. It had an absolutely astounding backing in terms of investment. Just Amazon invested $4 billion last year. And the reason why it is really, really impressive and very different from ChatGPT is because it has a huge context window. So what is context window? The easiest way to think about this is imagine that these large language models have a specific memory, like memory capacity. Every time you feed data to, say, ChatGPT, it has only that much capability to actually store and remember that data before it starts making up things or hallucinating. Now, ChatGPT has about 32,000 tokens context window. In comparison, Claude has 200,000 tokens context window, which means that you can actually analyze up to 150,000 words of text, or about 500 pages. So you can understand like what the implications are here. You can essentially feed really whole books or really large PDF documents and get the Claude to summarize the information. You can essentially chat with your PDFs. You can get like main outtakes. You can analyze really large text-based data. So it has a lot of implications. And it's actually it's almost like a very different tone of voice in terms of the text you output. So Claude, I would say, is definitely more human than ChatGPT. I think they're both brilliant. My third, I guess, most favorite chatbot is called Perplexity. And I wrote actually about this even yesterday in my newsletter, but I think Perplexity is probably one of the biggest threats to Google as a search engine. It's exactly that. It's a search engine using AI. But what is special about it is rather than you typing a specific keyword and then going and browsing through scores and scores of links and then going and clicking to a website to try to understand and find your information, what it does is it already does that for you. So it would look at whatever query you have. So it's, for example, here in the screenshot, I have asked, help me compare ChatGPT to Claude. And then what it has gone and done is it's read information from VentureBeat, from Reddit, from YouTube, from various different sources, and amalgamated the information, and has given me one very useful summary with all of the links to the specific sources. So you can always click to those sources and find out more about like any specific topic. The great thing is that you can also continue asking it questions. So once you have, I actually will show you, this is part of the demo, but once you have the first sort of result, Perplexity also prompts you with different questions that might actually clarify further your initial question. So it's great for research, for step-by-step instructions, for any sort of quick fact checking. It's plugged into the internet, so all the data is live and online, unlike some of the other chatbots. So it's really, really useful. Centura also has wrote an AI, and here I'm just going to quickly hand it over to Zane.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. So we've also kind of built our own AI. So a lot of the other kind of chatbots are kind of focused around general information. We've built ours to focus very specifically on global expansion related information to do with legal, tax, immigration. So we've pumped it full of our data, advice that, or knowledge that clients might be interested in. And it's kind of in a beta phase, so we're still testing it. So I'd encourage everyone on this call that's kind of a member or client of Centura to just play around with it. And we'd love to get your feedback because, as Joe said earlier, it's machine learning, right? So the more we play with it, the more we use it, the more it's going to learn things. And if there's mistakes in there, then it'd be great to get your feedback on. If you test it for your own countries, your own service areas, things that you're aware of, then this becomes a really powerful tool because our network's global. Everyone here is from different countries, different service lines. So together, we're going to create something really powerful from a services perspective because this information isn't necessarily available on the internet.
Cool. Thanks, Zane. All right, moving on with team organization tools. So here we've kind of curated a little bit of a wide spectrum of different tools for different problems. Obviously, with AI, there is so many different ways you can use it, but these are kind of like a little bit of off-the-box tools that you can literally from tomorrow go test, see if that works or not. Obviously, I will talk a little bit about the long-term view, but as you get more sophisticated with your use of AI, you would like to, for example, take some of these and build them within your own portfolio of operation processes. But these are a great start just so that you can sort of put your toe in the water. So firstly, transcription and smart meetings. So I did spot that somebody in the meeting room already is using Fireflies. If you haven't tested any of these, I would really, really encourage you to do that after the call because they're really a no-brainer. So if you have a video meeting, these tools are really I guess, incredibly helpful for you to become an active listener in the calls rather than a multitasker. What they do is they essentially sit on in every call that you have, whether it's on Zoom, on Teams, on Google Meets, or any other sort of video call platform. Firstly, they record the entire video call, so you can always go and rewatch certain parts of the call. Secondly, they store all the meeting data. So what they do is they first transcribe the call, and then they also store this. So after the call, you can always access the entire transcription of the call. But the magic really happens is when you take the transcription, or they take the transcription, and then they apply AI on it. And so what they do is they create these smart summaries of the calls, and you essentially get a summary of the main highlights, any agreed points. It's so smart because it on the actual video call, it gives you little points of the call in which certain parts have been agreed. So you can always, rather than watching the entire call, just like with a YouTube video, you can look at exactly which parts of the video you want to really watch. Same thing for these smart meeting transcribers. You can go back to your conference call and just look at just the specific parts of the call where a certain topic has been discussed. So you can see here I've included a little screenshot of Fireflies. It also, what's cool is that, for example, it creates AI filters. So you can, again, if you, for example, haven't attended the call, you don't have to even read through the entire transcript. You can just look at the specific topics that you are interested in. And it also, there's obviously various solutions, but some, for example, include sentiment filters, so like whether the general, I guess, vibe of the call was positive or negative or neutral, and then some action items based on that. Next, scheduling. So here I've just included a little demo of Clockwise, which I think is just worth having a look at. And so I guess the Clockwise, actually, even before their AI kind of upgrade, was a great tool. If you haven't used it, what it essentially does is it syncs up all the calendars of your calendars and the calendars of people in your organization, and then is able to smartly re-optimize your calendar so that it can deal with any conflicts, so that rather than all of you guys trying to figure out, okay, I have a slot here, you have a slot there, it automatically scans all of everyone's calendar and is able to actually identify which are the available slots for all parties that need to have a call. Yeah, the great thing is that it also gives you these sort of recurring time slots, for example, for lunch or focus time, and then you can actually adjust it so that you can make sure that there is a prioritization in terms of meetings and when you are available or not. So now with this AI integration, you can do this even easier and even more seamlessly. Another tool that, for example, does something similar is Reclaim AI, which is all about reclaiming your schedule. And the great thing is that it also gives you this very useful dashboard where you can see, okay, so where is your time going? Is it mostly in meetings? Like, do you have a lot of essentially these kind of like small in between meeting gaps where there is not enough time for focus and productivity? So the whole idea about these tools is that they help you schedule your entire calendar much smarter, and there is more time to focus and less time spent between actually negotiating calendars. Another great use of AI is actually to do presentations. Two companies that are doing it really well are Beautiful AI or Presentations AI. I use, for example, Canva, but that's very, very visual as well. But you know, I've been like a PowerPoint user for more than a decade now. But I can definitely say that some of these AI tools take so much of the hassle and the time consuming tinkering with PowerPoint, because they essentially work with templates. So you can set up, you can select already a template. Everything is much more around slide, and everything is much more intuitive. So, you know, these AI tools actually, you know, are built around the whole idea of productivity and intuition, and also including very useful AI integrations, like, for example, creating text or creating images, interactivity. So with tools like that, your team or you yourself can actually create beautiful presentations much faster. Next one is email inbox management. So there is variety of tools here that do slightly different things. But here I've kind of picked out a couple which I think actually have very, very useful functions. One is Help Scout. So if you are like me, I get sometimes completely lost within a long email chain of responses, and then normally, like before AI, I would have, you know, kind of done myself a little summary of, okay, what it has been agreed. Now essentially tools like Help Scout do that for you. So they would scan the entire chain of an email and give you an AI summary of, okay, what are the main points, what has been agreed, what are the main action points. Another tool that I think is actually quite useful is called SaneBox. It's almost like an extension that sits on top of your email box. It essentially scans your entire email box and looks at your behavior when interacting with emails. So let's say you're subscribed to 30 different newsletters, but you actually read only 2, but you've not necessarily, and you read only 2, but then you sometimes from month to month, like, you know, read another 2. SaneBox monitors this entire behavior and then is able to actually clear out your inbox without deleting any emails, but just by smartly sorting out through different emails, through different senders and recipients, so that actually what you get in your inbox is really what you would want to read and what you want to focus your attention on. As you see on the screenshot, you can set it up in ways that you can look at specific emails tomorrow, next week, next month. It also provides you data insights about who has been sending most emails, like where majority of your time in terms of reading emails goes. So the whole idea here is to declutter, to increase productivity. Some tools like Help Scout, also in my previous organization, we use this functionality. They allow you to have collaborative emails. So rather than having your team forward emails in between each other, CC each other, there is essentially a common mailbox which everyone can access, and then people can comment on specific emails and then collaborate together on actually the response. Next up, automation. So I first wanted to include this video of Zapier, because if you have not used Zapier, even before the AI integration, Zapier was really a brilliant tool. Now with the AI integration, it's even better. So I'm just going to play you this video so that if you're not familiar with what Zapier is, now you can actually have a look.
Welcome to Zapier. If you're like us, you've spent a lot of your time handling repetitive but business critical tasks. No one wants to copy and paste data or upload CSVs or send the same email to leads every day, but those are the things that keep a business running. So how is Zapier going to help you with all that? Zapier connects the apps you use every day and automatically moves information between them, doing that work in the background. That's just one way Zapier can do work for you. Head to our app directory and think about your repetitive work you want off your plate, whether it's those annoying CSVs, adding tasks to your to-do list, sending the same email, or adding form responses to a spreadsheet. Whatever your workflow, there's a good chance Zapier can do it for you automatically.
So in essence, it's a Zapier and Make are two of the biggest, I guess, automation platforms. What they do is they integrate between multitude of apps. So Zapier, I think, has integration with about 6,000 different apps, for everything from your emails to your Slack channels to Google Sheets. And so what it can do is connect all of these apps and create automated actions between them. Now, where AI comes is it actually creates, firstly, it makes the process much easier. So you can see here the screen shot from how actually Zapier now uses AI to create the actual flow of automation. So you can actually describe to Zapier what you want to do, and then Zapier, with the help of AI, creates this flow for you. Because beforehand, with Zapier, you had to essentially create the entire schema of, okay, Google Sheets connects with Slack, connects with your email, etc. Now you can actually do this in an automated way. Also, there is a Zap Chrome extension whereby, let's say you are researching online, you're reading a magazine or a newspaper online. You can, for example, collect information and automatically send it to a platform where you store all of that. But I would say these two tools, Zapier and Make, are definitely something that you guys should explore, because they just enable for so much menial type of jobs to be automated. Let's say you have a lead generation platform that would automatically send you an email every time somebody fills it up on your website. Now, probably your email, the email you'll receive will be, okay, so bob@bob.com has downloaded this white paper. Now, probably you would have an intern or a PA who then take this information from an email and put it in a database somewhere. Now, what essentially Zapier can help you do is completely automate that. You can actually connect your email with a Google spreadsheet, and then every time somebody fills in the lead gen form, it automatically fills up as well in the Google Sheet. And so just imagine, like, there's so many different actions that you can do in this principle. All right, next thing is, this is actually one that I discovered recently, but I think is actually quite cool for productivity. I use it myself. It's called Rise. What it does is it sits on the back of your desktop, and it automatically, through monitoring your behavior, it starts actually getting intelligence about, okay, what are the tasks that you normally do. It classifies them, and then it gives you these reports about how are you actually working and how productive you are. So it's able to give you sort of an understanding of, all right, if I start writing a document, how much of my, let's say, an hour do I spend actually writing the document, and how much do I spend getting distracted? And I'm a firm believer in awareness is the first step of actually changing your habits. If you've not read a book called Atomic Habits, really recommended, big fan of that. But I definitely think that apps like that can massively help you understand what are your behaviors and patterns in terms of habits, and where is your time drained or your team's time drained. For example, this app is very cool because it also integrates with Google and Outlook calendars, and then is able to give you, for example, specific reminders to, let's say, focus or take a break, or they stop any sort of unwanted distraction when you want to focus. Let's say you have a very active Slack channel, you don't want always notifications when you're trying to finish a presentation. So this is a great app to actually stop with that. This is, I think it's a no-brainer. There are a variety of AI knowledge management systems which actually integrate within like all of your knowledge databases. So whether it's Google Sheets, it's Excel files, it's Slack channels, emails, etc. This one example is Dashworks. They scan through everything, they analyze it, and they are able to essentially create this database where you you go to this Dashworks chatbot, and you're able to ask, okay, so where can I find this information, or what is the latest on this say project. The importance of this kind of tool is that there is probably one person in your organization that normally people go and ask the question of, where can I find this? This is essentially removing that stakeholder's responsibility, and is able to actually save much more time in terms of finding the information needed across the organization. Finally, just quickly covering AI assistants, because you probably have heard of that. Microsoft and Google rolled out essentially workspace assistants. Microsoft's assistant is called Copilot, Google's is called Duet. They are both based off different large language models. So Google's workspace is now powered by Gemini, and Microsoft Copilot is powered by GPT-4. What they do is firstly, you obviously have a chatbot function, but what the beauty of these is that you can work with AI within all of the sort of the normal workspace apps. So for example, in Copilot, you have a Copilot that can help you write Google documents, or that was misspoken. No, they can't help you write Google documents. They can help you write Word documents. It can help you do a PowerPoint presentation, or some basic Excel analysis. So in essence, it sits on top of any sort of normal application like Word, and then you can prompt it from there to actually assist you. And also they also integrate within your emails. Now, the trick here is that, for example, for Microsoft Copilot, you have to pay for a subscription monthly. It's about $30 a month per user, and you have to pay for the entire year ahead. So they are quite costly. And honestly, I feel like with a lot of the things that they do, you can use a multi-purpose chatbot to do them instead. So, but you should know about these, because they will continue getting better, and they're definitely helpful tools to have. So this was kind of the roundup of some ideas for tools. I wanted to leave you also with some ideas for immediate use cases that you can use AI to power up your organization. So the simplest thing is you can use definitely AI to automate email writing and presentation writing. Absolutely, I would recommend you guys test at least one of those automating meeting note-taking tools that I showed you. What is definitely a really cool use case, and I've been using it a lot, is actually doing a fast market and competitor research, both through also through Perplexity. Sorry, I think I switched the camera now because the other one died. Then they can absolutely help you with faster travel planning, and I'll show you in the demo how to do this. They are really, really useful when it comes to actually summarizing any long or complex documents. I'm sure that you guys have plenty of those, but they can actually give you at a glance very quick understanding of, all right, what are the main points, summarize this, give it to me in this format. So they are really, really, really useful if you're time poor. They are great when it comes to email, actually automating a lot of things. But for example, the email data collection that I gave you as before, I think they're actually indispensable for creating marketing content. So anything that involves text-based copy can be automated, not replaced, right? So you can't replace your marketing team with AI, but what you can do is power up your marketing team with AI. So anything like, for example, lead gen forms, blog posts, advertorials, anything, you can get AI to help you, and you can train it on a specific tone of voice, brand guidelines, and even create certain sort of more templated images. You can optimize meeting scheduling. You can also improve your talent acquisition process. There is a myriad of recruitment tools that are powered up by AI that can help you scan through many more resumes much faster, or give you insights about an interview when you're interviewing a candidate. So this is definitely one that can be very, very helpful. They can, as I showed you, can give you a much easier access to internal company knowledge, and make it much easier for your entire team to access this knowledge. And they can improve productivity for all. So you ask, how do I get started with AI, Joe? Well, there is as many frameworks as you wish about how you should start with AI. I have put here a simple one of 4 steps. So the first one, with everything, the first thing is to identify what the problem or the need is. A general rule of thumb is, when I think about AI, I think about it as, if I had an intern that is doing a job that is quite repetitive and is not very complicated, like that is probably a process that can be taken over by AI, and a smart intern to manage the AI. So the first step is to really identify some of these processes. The second step is really to develop a strategy around, or break down these processes into smaller chunks, and understand, okay, so what can be taken over by let's say, a multi-purpose chatbot tool like the ones that I showed you? What is what part of the process can be taken over by off-the-shelf tool, or what needs to be built internally? Finally, the third step is training your team. I think there is a lot of currently panic and confusion about AI and how AI is going to take everyone's jobs, and people being stressed out. AI is not going to take everyone's jobs, but AI is going to replace a lot of menial jobs. And I think it's really important that you firstly are transparent with your team, and make sure that they understand that AI is there to help, is not necessarily to replace. And then second of all, once you have these problems broken down and a strategy put in place, your team is going to be the one who is actually going to make the most out of AI, because AI cannot drive itself. You need a human to actually make most out of it. And so for that, you need to actually have a good training in place. And then finally, it's essentially actually a circle. So once you implement step 1, 2, 3, and you see how the process goes, you want to go into step 4, which is understand the results, the sort of like where you against KPIs, have things improved, have you become more efficient? If not, okay, let's go and reiterate. So it's a cycle of continuous improvement. So one final bit, okay, so long-term view. I think it's really important to understand the long-term view and where this is going. You are starting from here. Your first steps will be around using purpose-built AI tools like the ones I showed you, creating prompt libraries, which is how to actually tell the large language models what you want from them, and then using foundational models like ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini. Second step is then more sophisticated. Is okay, so how can I create custom chatbot tools that can actually help me automate a specific part? And then in addition, how to like get automation tools like Make and Zapier automate entire workflows. The stage that ideally over time all businesses will move on is then developing their own, developing and training their own large language models, or using existing large language models, but training them on a specific business knowledge. And here it's all about data, how you manage your data, how you store your data, how you label your data, and then how do you feed that into the models in order for it to like execute a particular function. So the first tool that I want to show you is Perplexity. As I mentioned, this is an AI-enabled search engine. So I have kindly asked for the permission of Zain to use him as my guinea pig for this exercise. So let's say I have never met Zain, so I would go to Perplexity and ask, who is Zain Ali Centuro? And then what Perplexity is going to come back with is a nice summary, which has been taken from the website, from LinkedIn, from YouTube, from other sources like Startup Magazine, and it's given me all of this information about him, how he has started his career. Here I can immediately already look at the webinars he has been part of. So this is already a very useful information. So as you can see here, Perplexity is already prompting me with what else I can find out or what can be a good next step. So I'm going to ask, what is Centuro Global and what services does it offer? So here we go. Again, multiple sources are giving me this nice little a little summary. So they are helping with setup, immigration, relocation, international payroll. All right, so then I'll ask, okay, what are the latest trends in international payroll? All right, and so now again, Perplexity has gone and actually given me from all of these sources a neat little summary about, okay, so these are the latest trends in international payroll. Right, so I'm really keen to get to speak with Zain about a potential workshop that I want to do on this topic. So I'm going to go to ChatGPT and I'm going to take all of this information. I mean, this is very easy, copy paste it, and then I'm going to ask ChatGPT, hey, draft me an intro email to Zain. I want to offer him to create a workshop, information below. Now, this is very sloppy, lazy prompting. This is not how you do it. I'm just giving you this as a very quick example. So I copy paste this, and here we go. ChatGPT is starting to actually, is read all of this information and is now drafting me an email in which it says, I hope you see this, but it's basically already given me a summary of what the website said, like what a Centuro summary said, and then is then starting to like actually pull some of this information and give him a understanding about what the workshop that I want to implement is. It's pulled it from the trends. And then next thing that I'm going to ask is, can you create an outline for the workshop? Okay, so I'm going to stop this. There, now I have the email, and already I'm asking it to create a outline for the workshop that I've mentioned. So here we go. It's already given me by section, by time. Of course, the more information, as I mentioned in the beginning, the more information you feed ChatGPT with exactly who you are, what your background is, etc., 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 the better the results. So anyway, so this is just how you can create a lot of content very quickly. Next thing I want to just show you here is actually something pretty cool that ChatGPT rolled out about 4 months ago, which is called Custom GPTs. It's kind of the new app store. So Custom GPTs are pre-programmed mini ChatGPTs that are supposedly doing a specific function. You can create your own custom GPT tomorrow doing a specific function. So you can see here there is a Golf GPT for any golfers. I wanted to show you here a one from Kayak. So now Kayak is going to help me book my trip to New York. I want to go to New York next week from Cologne. What are the cheapest options for flights? Okay, and so now Kayak is going to basically plug in into whatever information it has been given as a preset to its custom GPT. And then think, and there we go. So now it's going to say, I found the several flight options, and it's going to give me now a full itinerary of what flights are available, how much do they cost, when do they arrive, when do they leave. And then actually we are a little bit out of time, but next step is I can already ask it to book me a hotel, and it would know exactly what like where it can find this information. So again, it's a very quick and easy way to do fast booking traveling. So anyway, I am right at 2 o'clock. So I'm going to stop here and see if you guys have any questions.
Well, that was an amazing presentation. Thought I'd say that first. I think probably we all learned a lot there, including myself. I feel like you also revealed some of my secrets there, Joe, of what I do. Just joking. But yeah, if anyone's got any questions, I know we're kind of at time. If anyone's got a couple of minutes, if you want to ask away, feel free to unmute or post it in the chat. Everyone's just been blown away, stunned into silence by.
I think there's one question in the chat that was asked about the real-time comparison between Google search and ChatGPT to see who's better.
Okay, so here's this is actually an important thing to bear in mind. So ChatGPT is not something you can use instead of Google, because ChatGPT is a large or GPT-4 is a large language model that is being trained on data, and I think the cutoff point was April 2023. So if you go right now and ask ChatGPT for current events, it doesn't actually have these. So that's why you ideally want to use something like Perplexity, which is plugged in directly to internet. But ChatGPT cannot really give you any access to like really current data. It can give you data up to last year 23, which is still okay, but you know there is actually a pretty big gap still.
Great, thank you.
Hi, one question, a follow-up on it. There is a lot of talk about students or assignments being done using ChatGPT.
Yes.
And even in how much of it can potentially be plagiarism? Because eventually these ChatGPT models or language models are picking up content from another sources.
Yes,
So
exactly.
where does infringement of copyright potentially comes in?
Yeah, so this is the interesting question. So absolutely, ChatGPT or any chatbot has been trained on trillions, as I said, sort of text points, and any sort of output that you're going to get is, I guess, inspired from different authors, from different texts. There is a lot of conversations now about intellectual property and whether essentially any of what, like, ChatGPT or any of these chatbots come out is actually original thought, and most of the time it is not. So the question about plagiarism is, I can't tell you exactly how likely it is that a chatbot is going to spew out something that is blatantly plagiarized, but it's certainly going to be inspired by whatever data that it has been fed with. Now, that is why a lot of these companies like ChatGPT or Microsoft have created these sort of legal umbrellas, which ensure that anyone who is using the bot, they are essentially going to be protected by the companies owning the chatbot in terms of intellectual property. But I can't give you so much more detail, but I know that that is specifically set up there in place so that if you are using any of these chatbots, you can use some of this content without necessarily being scared about being sued.
Great, thanks. Any other questions before we wrap up?
I
Maybe
think there is one by Julia, but Julia, if you don't mind, because this is actually a much longer topic, let's pick it up. If you email me after, I can sort of give you sort of a bit more information on the privacy concerns and the accuracy.
That'll be brilliant. Thanks so much.
No problem.
Great. Okay. Well, I guess we're kind of 5 minutes over. So I just want to say massive thank you to Joe. I think you've been an amazing speaker and you've shared a lot of great information for everyone. And we'll probably do some more sessions. We'll kind of explore, we'll chat to all of you guys in the audience, for the members, to see what you're interested in. But one of the things I think would probably be helpful is the prompt side of things. So the instructions that people give to ChatGPT and other large language models. Like Joe said, it can be quite complicated. And I mean, I spend a lot of time on these every day and I come up with all sorts of prompts, and it's an interesting thing. And like Joe said, the better the information you give the system, the better the answer you get. So I think it's probably worth a session trying to explain to people how they can build good prompts, because I know that's something a lot of people struggle with. But yeah, we'll follow up with further sessions. Joe will share your details as well if anybody wants to reach out to you to help you integrate AI into their businesses. But yeah, thanks everyone for attending as well. Hope you found it useful, and yeah, we'll catch up soon. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks so much. Bye.